Welcome to Be a Baller, where we're building a lifelong legacy for our families, communities, and the world. Your host, Coach Tim Brown, is excited for you to join him on this journey. On each episode, we'll be talking about how to be intentional about building a lasting legacy. We'll be exploring what it means to leave a mark that goes beyond just our lives, but has a positive impact on those around us and even generations to come. So, if you're looking for inspiration, guidance, and practical tips on how to build a lasting legacy that makes a difference, then you're in the right place. So grab your earbuds, get comfortable, and let's dive in. It's time to be a baller.
So I have the honor and privilege of welcoming someone who is not a stranger to the stage this morning, Mr. Rodav Kalengayi. He is a 17-year-old senior at Westerville South High School, a state-recognized orator, youth mentor, student leader, and now the author of When God Cracks the Sky, a powerful collection of his poetry. He is passionate about advocacy, community, and using his voice for impact. Clap them all the way up, clap them all the way up. No, let's see that really. All right, next we have Mr. Anthony King, an accomplished educational leader with over 13 years of experience as a teacher, coach, and principal, now serving as the CEO of the Student Stakeholder and Anthony King Coaching and Consulting. He's passionate about educational equity, leadership, development, and making sure students, the true stakeholders in education, have a powerful voice at the table. Let's give it up for Mr. Anthony King. That's for you, sir. All right, let's get into it. I was joking with Mr. Brown today that we had lots of royalty in the room with all the kings that we're interviewing. Are you a prince over there we need to know about? Anything?
My name means King David, actually.
Is what?
It means King David.
Look at that. We really do have a lot of royalty in all the kings. I love it. I was being corny, but that is actually wonderful synergy. All right, so before we get into the journey of these two wonderful men up here, I would like to just kind of talk to y'all for a second. So the conversation today is all about vision. Just yell out to me what pops into your mind, images, words that come to your mind when you think about vision. Future. Y'all got to yell at me. I'm all the way up here. Future. Career. Success. Money. Okay. Fulfillment. I'll take like two more. Huh? Career plans, all right. Change. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Okay, keep all of this in mind as I get ready to interview our guests because they are going to talk about vision in all the many different ways that they have experienced it throughout their career. All right. All right. Let me get my cards together. All right, so let's talk about journey. Can you each share a story that shaped you and brought you to where you are today?
Yeah, I can go first. I'd say a moment in my life that shaped me would be very recently when I met Coach Tim Brown back there. My school principal was looking for volunteers for a mentorship at the middle school down our street. And he picked me as one of the volunteers. And I remember him talking about his book, I think it's To Be a Baller. And a lot of the lessons about just becoming a man really resonated with me. And then I mentioned that I did poetry after that, and he connected me with people that knew a lot about that space. And since then, it's just been up from that. And I really think it was like a guardian angel. He came into my life when I really didn't expect it.
Yeah. I love that.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to share, and I had this conversation with my table in the back from Northland High School. Shout out to you all. Pivotal moment for me was when I was a freshman in high school. And I actually had a 1.28 GPA when I was a freshman in high school. And similar to what he just shared, I had a mentor, educator, coach of mine who sat me down when I had that 1.28 GPA at 14 years old, right? And not to get too deep, because I know we may touch this throughout the conversation today, but the circumstances that I was facing at that time was very challenging. You know, I'm one of 11. I have 4 brothers and 6 sisters, and wonderful family. But ultimately, there were some challenges within my family, and I'm the only male that has not been incarcerated. I have 3 siblings that did not graduate high school, and my mom was in and out of jail and rehab throughout portions of my life as well. So it was ultimately him sitting me down when I had that 1.28 GPA and made it clear to me that GPA did not define me. And he supported me throughout my high school career, where I climbed out of that GPA, and ultimately fast forward, everything that I do now, every hat that I wear, is to pay it forward in the exact way that he poured into me and supported me within my life.
That's amazing. Thank you all. It sounds like there was just some synergy there with someone pouring into you that really start to help shape your vision on what your life could even look like. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing to note. I think some people have mentioned it earlier, just like it really does depend on who's in your life that can start shaping your life. So just kind of start taking note of the people in your life that can start pouring into you as they have for you all. All right, so let's define future. High school can feel like a time where you're just figuring things out. How do you think young people should approach thinking about their future?
Well, I'm in high school right now, and I think, 2 months into my senior year, and it's already been very stressful, college applications, juggling friendships and relationships and all of that. I think the biggest thing that I have learned that has helped me is just to slow down, because at times we don't realize how much time we do have to become the people that we want to be. And not everything has to happen right now. And maybe even if God were to give you what you want right now, you probably wouldn't be able to handle it. So it's good to just grow and take it slowly, because not everything has to happen too fast.
That's really good.
Great words, and I will also echo that. From the standpoint of, actually, it's more about living in the present, to be honest with you. So really paying attention to the present moment, even like, for example, individuals in this room right now. Again, you are doing an amazing job throughout today in this live podcast shooting, and really paying attention to the stories that are being told, right? Paying attention to the common themes that have been shared from amazing community leaders that have graced this microphone, right? Paying attention to, like, why was I selected to be in this room, right? Some of you may have signed up for this opportunity. Some of you may have got selected and told you're hopping on this bus and you're coming to this opportunity. Whatever that is, don't miss that. And actually, as well as we are planning for the future, and I got this, from my daughter who's 4 years old, just through learning through our time together, is actually to live more like a toddler in your future. And I say that from a standpoint of, if you think about a toddler, they are confident, right? They'll draw something, confident as ever, trying to show you what thing they draw, and it looks like a duck, and they're like, oh, that's a cat, but they're confident in showing and sharing what they just did, right? So no matter what, walking in that confidence. When we think about toddlers as well, they say no often, right? They'll say no. My daughter tells me no more than anybody else, right? But that's also important, because we have to set up boundaries, right? We got to protect our peace, protect ourselves, and be okay with saying no. When we also think about toddlers, they explore, they play, and they also question. Right now, my daughter's 4, and she asks why. So ultimately, I challenge you to do those things. Be confident in the skin that you're in, right? Explore, play, question why, and also say no. And doing some of those things will then help support you as you're on your journey, and as you're approaching the goals that you want to achieve and accomplish in the future.
Thank y'all for that. Yeah, that's it. Y'all getting it. Y'all getting it. Proud of y'all. No, that's really good. I heard boundaries. I heard clarity. I heard being present, having fun. All of that's very, very great information to hold on to as you are navigating your vision. So let's get personal for just a second. Rodav, you just published your first book.
Yes, congratulations.
No, that's amazing. So you just published your first book, When God Cracks the Sky. What was your vision for it, and what helped you stay focused to see it all the way through?
Yeah. I remember, I think it was December of last year, December junior year. I was listening to this album by this artist called Toby and Igwe. And there was this song on it was titled When God Cracks the Sky. And that phrase just really resonated with me. So I researched more into it. I looked more into it. And when God cracks the sky, it basically means God opening the sky and meeting you where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, I've seen God the most when I didn't think he was going to come through.
Mm.
And so I think my main goal in the book is there's two characters, Shay and Rose, and they basically meet God in different ways. And it shows that you're never too far from him. And that's, I think, what the main purpose of the book is.
That's really good. I started to read it. Yeah, that's a wonderful. I wish I was taking notes. I started to read a bit of it, and now that you gave that further description of it, it gives me a different lens to read the book. So thank you so much for that. All right, Anthony, you have gone from teacher to principal to now CEO. What kept you moving during those big transitions?
Yeah, so first faith. So I'm a man of God first, but then also purpose, and to be able to identify what your purpose is, what he shared a little bit ago, got to sit with yourself, got to reflect and really identify who you are. But I'm clear on what my purpose is, right? And that's to educate, that's to inspire, that's to expose, and that's to empower, right? I'm clear on those four values of mine. So for me, any hat that I'm wearing, if I'm able to do those four things, then it's a yes for me, right? And I think for me, throughout my journey in education, I taught Algebra 1 and geometry for 5 years. When I was the double block math student, right, in high school, I was an instructional math coach and assistant principal. And along the way, what kind of kept me going and why I want to continue to pursue those different positions is me wanting to have more influence and more impact. And fast forward, when I became a principal in the midst of the pandemic, right? In some uncharted territories, challenging times. And ultimately, I'm blessed and I paid attention in those moments and learned what I needed to learn in those moments. But ultimately, in the seat as a principal, I was being pulled further and further and further away from the students, right? Where I want to be, where I want to invest my time, where I want to hear you and understand you and then create the environments that's going to best support you and your goals, right? So ultimately, I was making decisions that was not the reason why I got into education, right? So ultimately, through my faith, through God, I took a leap. Right. And now I've created my organization so that I can carry out my purpose to educate, to inspire, to expose, and empower. Right. So that is what has motivated me and kept me going throughout this process.
Thank y'all. All right, the chicken's here, y'all, so we got to keep it real juicy to keep them locked in. I just want to let y'all know. Y'all still with us? Okay, cool. All right, so we can talk about writing a book. We can talk about starting a business. We can talk about being the principal of a school. We can make it look glamorous, right? But let's be honest, there are challenges that exist in all of those spaces. So if you both will talk about the things that don't always go as planned, how have setbacks or tough moments shaped your path? And what would you tell these students when they feel like giving up?
I think the biggest thing I've struggled with is this thing called imposter syndrome. It's kind of like you do something, and then instead of focusing on, hey, you did something, you're like, how can I make this better? And so not even just when I'm writing the book, when I'm helping out at school and things, I'm always kind of not really seeing the good things that I'm doing and mainly looking at the flaws. And that can be a good thing because it helps you grow. But everything gets to a point. So if you get to the point where all you see is the bad things, then you're not going to grow. You're going to be, it's too pessimistic. And so having people in your life that remind you that you are on the right track to where you want to be is a big help. Even my parents helped me a lot with the book. Coach Brown helped me a lot with the book. And just having people that believed in what you believed definitely helps a lot.
How many of you all struggle with imposter syndrome or have struggled with that feeling of, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. Look around, y'all. It can be real, adults included. So thank you so much for speaking to that. Anthony?
Yeah, I would say, and then again, this is coming from an individual who I've now been away from home. I didn't mention this earlier in my introduction, but I'm originally from the Maryland, D.C. area. And I've been away from home, if I include undergrad, for more than half of my life. So I've been away for 18 years now, 2 different states, multiple different cities. There's been a lot of unseen. There's been a lot of loneliness from 22, to now, or 18, if I include undergrad, to now. And I would say it's important to build community and connect with individuals. And I've only now been in Columbus for 4 years, but ultimately the individuals in this room that have poured into me, whether that just be a text, Brother Coach Brown texted me yesterday praying for you and your family. Brother Dokes said a prayer for me yesterday as well. I've been on prayer calls with Christian Johnson. And these are all people I've met within the last 3 years, right? So I think a couple things: keep going. Right. And what was kind of mentioned earlier from some folks that grace the mic as well is like, along the way, people will not understand you, understand your vision, understand what God has called for you. But then there's also that fine line where when you're walking in your purpose, the individuals who do see you, do understand you, do value you, want to support you, that will also come as well, right? And we have to live in that, be open to that, and welcome those individuals also. So in short, really making sure that you're building a community, and when you need a helping hand, you reach out, but then also ensuring that you're doing that for others as well. And how can you add value also?
Yeah.
All right, so we know that leadership is actually developed when you persevere through those challenges, through those hard moments, when you are set back and you decide to get back up again, right? So let's talk about leadership in action. You will both are leaders in your own right, but we'll start with you, Rodav. At 17, you're already mentoring and leading in your school, leaving your own legacy. What does it look like for you to lead the way right now among your peers?
Yeah, I think in middle school and early high school, I had a lot of seniors in my life that made me feel like I could be someone, And I think the most important part of being a leader isn't for people to look up to you, it's for you to be at eye level with them. So I like the people I'm leading, we're the same age, we go through the same struggles, we take the same classes, we both got homework at the end of the day. So it's just about, I think when you see someone as a friend, and you also believe in them, they'll also believe in themselves. And that makes it so much easier.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Lead at eye level. That's so good. So often we look up or down. We can lead from someone sitting right across from us. That's really good. All right, Anthony. You often say students are the true stakeholders in education. What's one way schools and adults can listen to young people better? Y'all want people to listen to y'all? Yeah, y'all feel like adults don't listen to y'all. All right, he gonna help us out a little bit. What are some ways we can speak to the adults in the room that students really are the stakeholders, and how do we listen to them?
Yes, so feel free to email me at info@thestudentstakeholder.com, and I can support from that standpoint. But ultimately, what it comes down to is really just getting out of the way, right, and creating opportunities to listen. So for all the educators and leaders in the room, creating the spaces just like we're creating today for the opportunity for the students to utilize their voices, right? And again, I got here through my experience of being a leader within education, where I'm creating the policies, I'm creating the systems, and it's just adults in the room. Or oftentimes it just may be me creating that, and the leaders in the room understand that. And then that policy, that system may not work. It may not be what's best for your environment, for your culture, for your students, right? So through my own experience, that then allowed me to shift how I approach things. And I began to involve students, ask them the questions, right? Take the time to really listen, and then create the culture, the system, the frameworks that is going to meet the needs of your student population and your youth population. So ultimately, if you do not have certain youth-led organizations or student-led organizations, I encourage you to create those opportunities. And you may have those operating in your and functioning in your building, but what can you do strategically to truly involve them to support you as a leader as well?
Thank you both. All right, final thoughts. So we are sitting in a room full of beautiful young people. If you both could speak to them, either give them one step that they can take starting this week, as soon as they leave this room, that they can start shaping their future, or just give them a sentence, some motivation about why it matters to think ahead, why it matters to cast a vision, why it matters to be able to see something beyond right now.
I got two things. One, don't care about what anyone says, because everything always looks stupid until you win. And another thing would be just tomorrow starts today. So if you constantly wait for the next day, that next day is never going to come.
Very good.
Yep. So something I would recommend for everybody in the room to do, and this is for youth and adults, just write these three words down: past, present, and future. Right? Past, present, and future. And what I would recommend, and it was mentioned earlier, sit in silence, right? Take time to just list out all of the things from your past, good, bad, and ugly, anything that comes to mind, right? While also I want to challenge you, naturally, we'll start thinking about the negative things, right? So list those, right? The good, and the bad, and the ugly, but also think about the positive things. Think about how you've been covered. Think about people that have poured into you, supported you, etc., right? From that activity of listing the past, you'll start to see some common trends and themes of how that have shaped you, of who you are in this present moment, right? Why you may be interested in certain hobbies, why you may be interested in certain careers or schools or et cetera, right? Identify who you are in the present moment. And I think something we do as adults and educators is when we're speaking with you all, it's like you have to have it all figured out, and you don't. I challenge every one of you to, yes, set some long-term goals, right? But ultimately, it's going to be important that you identify who you are on a seasonal basis, right? And then based off who you are on a seasonal basis, then you will be able to create the goals, right? The priorities, the action steps that serve you now, right? So I just challenge you, take some time, sit with yourself, think about all your journey past, right? Think about who you are today and how the past and the present is going to fuel you for your future.
Thank y'all. Let's give it up for our guest today.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with family and friends. The Be a Baller podcast is available on all major podcast platforms. This podcast was created by Coach Tim Brown and recorded and edited by the video production class of Worthington Christian High School. Be sure to come back next week as we continue to discuss on how to build a lifelong legacy. Until then, don't forget to be a baller.